Hello, I'm Chef Meekum, and I'm going to talk to you about making pastry cream. Pastry cream also is one of those things in the pastry chef world everybody should know how to do. It's very versatile, can be used to fill eclairs, Napoleons, fillings for cakes, tarts, and other things. So, what I'll start with is a basic recipe that I've learned works well for me. I have butter, milk, vanilla, cornstarch will be our thickener, eggs, and of course granulated sugar. There is a technique to put this together, so we'll go over that. I have a sauce pot I'm going to place on my burner, and again, as in the patty choux, the first thing I'm going to add is my butter. My theory is that it will coat the bottom of the pan and help keep everything less likely to stick. Pastry cream is a little bit more tricky. It's delicate, so you have to really pay attention to it as you make it, or keep an eye on it, I suppose. So I'm going to melt my butter. The next thing I will do is I'm going to add almost all of my milk. The reason that I'm not going to add all of my milk is because I need to create a slurry with my cornstarch to thicken the entire batch. I'm going to use this using a quart of milk. So right here I have 4 ounces of butter. I don't want my butter to burn either. I just want it nicely melted. So that's why I'm kind of keeping an eye on this. Really important. Don't walk away from this. It takes a little bit of patience. So my butter is melted. I'm going to reserve about a half a cup of milk. So here goes my milk. So I can just kind of let this hang out by itself. It's going to want to come to a full rolling boil. I'm going to prepare my other ingredients. I'm going to bring together my sugar. While we're waiting for our milk mixture to come to a boil, we're going to combine our other ingredients. I start with the granulated sugar, add the cornstarch, and the reason I do it that way is because cornstarch is the ingredient that will tend to give us problems. Might make us have a few lumps. To keep our pastry cream smooth, I'm going to mix it with the granulated sugar. And as I said before, we need to create a slurry. So a slurry is a thickener of starch and liquid. And of course our starch is cornstarch. Our liquid is the remaining milk. We always want to use cold milk or cold liquid when we make the slurry. So we're going to just stir that around with our whisk. So everything looks dissolved and clear and beautiful and no lumps. Beautiful. Okay. So I have a little more milk left. I'm going to add it to my pot. I'm going to also add my vanilla to my slurry. And then the next thing I'm going to add are my eggs to my sugar slurry cornstarch mixture. So 1 egg, 2 eggs. Got a little shell, get rid of that. Okay. So here we go. We're going to incorporate our eggs. And again, I add the eggs to the sugar mixture because it just is a nice granular thing, and it helps create a nice emulsification of that. Okay, so these ingredients are whisked together. Over here, our pot actually is just about ready to boil. We want to add our slurry mixture when we see this milk climbing up the sides of our pot. Pastry chef trick. If you have sugar in your eggs, no need to temper, okay? If you don't, you may want to put a little of this hot liquid into your cool egg liquid so you don't scramble your eggs. But I'm not going to do that. So here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful boil. And the reason we want this to happen is because cornstarch reacts quickly. We want to thicken this and get it in our pan to cool. So I'm going to add this, whisk it in. Nice. I'm going to whisk this in. Now our starch is going to coagulate. And how will we know this? We'll have little volcanic bubbles in the bottom. And we want to make sure that we keep this moving, especially in the sides of our pot in the bottom, because this likes to burn. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my whisk and use a heat-resistant spatula. I can feel the cornstarch working. Can you see it? It looks lumpy and ugly. But if we wait just a minute, it's going to give it that nice cornstarch sheen. As we stir it, it's going to come to a bubble. So that is just about what we want. I'm not really quite happy with the thickness. I'm going to let it go just a little bit more. This is beautiful pastry cream. See the volcanoes? We are done. The next step is to transfer it quickly to a shallow stainless steel hotel pan. What we're going to do to prevent it from getting its skin over the top is I'm going to place a layer of plastic wrap over the pastry cream, and what I'm going to do is place it directly on the pastry cream. Okay? That's important. Otherwise you get this skin on top, and that's not creamy and not fun. Okay, so we're going to date this, we're going to put it in, and we're going to cool it as quickly as we can to use it to fill our cream puffs. Now that we've created our pastry cream, we're going to go over to the oven and check our cream puffs. Remember, we're not opening the oven because they still have their little sweat beads on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the timer to 15 minutes. I'm going to turn the temperature down to 200 degrees. If you can see in the oven, they're nice and golden brown and really puffed. If I opened the door and took them off the heat now, they would just collapse. That would be bad, because we want to put all the pastry cream we can in the center. So I'm going to continue to dip the rest of the eclairs in the ganache using this technique, working from left to right. They're all filled now with just the right amount of pastry cream for the recipe for eclairs. Ganache is another one of those items in the pastry kitchen you would always have as part of your mise en place because there's a lot of uses for it. You can whip it and it can become like an icing. If it's cold, you can make truffles out of it. If it's liquid, absolutely, you can do what we're doing here. It's basically made out of heavy cream, butter, and really good chocolate. Now we can have eclairs on our menu for today. Thank you.